Okay, so we are live on Google Hangouts instead of Blab today because our guest could not join. We're trying to get her in on the Google Hangout right now. So pardon our technical difficulties. Hopefully you can join us on one of the platforms and catch us. Still trying to get her in, so just give me just 1 minute here, folks.
Hi.
Hey, you're here. Just posting in a couple of the groups that we had some technical difficulties on Blab today.
17 minutes worth.
So we'll start in just 1 second.
Cool.
All right, I got it up in 3 places, so hopefully we can get some viewers on here.
Yeah, if not,
if not, it's recorded and they can watch it later, right? So okay, now let me get myself reset up here because I'm all over the place from trying to get you on here. So our guest today is Katie Olivia Smyth. She is the owner of a transformational coaching practice and FlexForce training. She has a degree in business administration. She is a pre- and postnatal corrective exercise specialist, which kind of, I'm sure my mom would be really interested in hearing more about. She has relentlessly self-studied mindset and is mentored by a mindset coach. And has, I know her tagline is to help you bust through your bullshit and move on. So current programs that Katie is offering are a 6-month one-on-one program with a 30-day sprint, and her on and off coaching with group support, which I'm interested to hear more about too. She's also recently joined the author incubator to write her first book. Congratulations. And is starting to travel a little and do some public speaking engagements, which I'm really excited to hear about because I definitely want to come check you out live. Because this is as live as we've gotten is video chatting. So it'd definitely be cool to meet you in person. But tell me about little Katie. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I was born in Levittown, Pennsylvania. And I moved to Langhorne, which is probably 15 minutes from Levittown. When I was I was about to go into 3rd grade, so I don't know, what does that make me, 8? So my dad runs his own business and he builds houses for a living, but he also works as a locomotive engineer. So he built this whole house. So I guess part of that really resonated with me at a young age. Oh my God, you can build your dreams and do whatever the hell you want if you choose to. So that's really fun. But a big thing that a lot of people, they look at me, from high school and from middle school, and they're like, how did Katie from middle school get to Katie she is now, And they're like, you're completely different. I'm like, no, I'm actually very much the same. I feel like people are just not as aware of how linear my pattern actually was. So I tell this story a lot, but my first real passion was poetry, and I started doing that in 6th grade. And I was just writing and writing and writing. And if you look back, some of that shit was horrible. It was so bad. But by the time I got to high school, if you sat down and read some of my stuff, like it really, like it sounds like it's right out of, I had been published in books and newspapers and all sorts of stuff, but I think really what it was the first real drop of being an entrepreneur and being a mindset and transformation coach. My intuitive skills were so crazy high. Like even my mom used to say, like when she was upset when I was growing up, like I would come up and like give her a hug and she'd be how does she know that something's not right and stuff like that. So I'm just really good at picking up on people's feelings, and just knowing exactly what to say and exactly what to do to be able to kind of release that pressure. So that's really where it started for me. And then, one day I kind of felt like, God, like I can write to the cows come home, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to listen. So that's when I really started moving into the physical stuff, doing personal training, connecting that mind and body. And then, I kind of came full circle because I'm like, okay, now I know what to say, I know what to do, or I know how to teach them what to say and what to do. But really, in the end, people were still stuck. Why are they still stuck? So that kind of pushed me to dig much deeper. Like I can't even tell you how many mindset books I've read. It's probably upwards of 100 right now. And it's crazy because, if you look at them, every single one of them is completely different. No one is more true than the other. The human brain is just so, like, as much as we study it, it's boundless. It's limitless. So it's really been a privilege for me to like sit down with people. And, I'm about to turn 23 years old. So the fact that I work with people who are 30 and 35 and 40, and the fact that I have the privilege to help them bust through their bullshit, it's honestly beyond me. Like, I'm like, apparently I was gifted this amazing ability and I'm just going to own it because, like even my mom looks at me sometimes. She's like, God, like I'm supposed to listen to a 23-year-old woman. Like, and I've been alive for like twice as long as you. I'm like, listen, I don't know why I was given the ability to, just feel things and see things from different perspectives that really, as long as you have an open mind, it's really, I've always had an open mind. And I think that's what makes me so powerful as a coach. Like I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong. I'm willing to accept that there's other ways at all times. So that makes me, very versatile. Sorry, that's a lot.
No, that's perfect. Boom, do it. But yeah, I mean, speaking from personal experience, because you and I have worked together, it's been amazing. And, one would think I'm almost twice your age. Like, why should I be listening to a 23-year-old? But seriously, you do have that incredible ability to just kind of look at things and say, nope, right there, that's what it is. And open eyes to, at least for me, to see things that I didn't see before. So, it's amazing that you have that ability. And I mean, I see other people writing incredible things about you. And I know I've written, I can't say enough good things about where I've transformed in the last couple months since we worked together. So, yeah, just amazing stuff. And don't even let your age be an issue.
Listen, I didn't ask to be bestowed this wonderful gift. Like I'm always, the comparison I always use is like, okay, if you had not too long ago, I don't know if it was on the Ellen or it was with that one guy who does like interviews on television, and they were interviewing this kid who could multiply like any two numbers together. And he was like a genius. And I'm like, if I was asked who I wanted help with, like to pass my math final or something, would I pick the 5-year-old who can multiply any two numbers together? Or would I pick the doctorate who spent 30 years, like basically going uphill trying to figure out how to do this? I'd pick the freaking 5-year-old.
Right.
Because I'm like, listen, he knows what he's doing. He's proved what he's doing. I don't care if he's 5. He's always right. It's something that I think in the beginning I was a little like, when people brought up my age, I'd be like, yeah, so what? And now it's really like the fact that I'm so young, I have the ability, I think, to not let the knowledge and stuff that I've accumulated already, or the blocks that I've even accumulated already, to get in the way, because I'm so fresh that it's like all my shit, you know, hasn't gotten in the way. And starting at this young, I'm able to really identify like, oh, hey, like what is coming in here? You know, what am I starting to project or whatever? Like, that's why I have my own coach. Like, I'm always making sure, and you've spoken with Lacey Craig already. She's awesome. She's a genius. And, you know, if you put her next to me, we're so different. We're so different. And like, I'm all like crazy, you know, and she's just so pleasantly, I don't know. She's like edgy, but she's so cute. I just love her. But
she definitely strikes me as the more cute, and you're definitely the more like,
yeah,
there.
I just like, but you know, I think I bring out that like edginess in her, where she can call me on my bullshit, and like that's what I need. Like, I always get out and I tell my clients, I'm like, listen, you know, just because you have bullshit doesn't mean that I have bullshit. I have plenty of bullshit, but I'm not immune to the fact that I know that, you know, you can't see, no matter how close and how smart and how educated you are, you cannot like see your own shit. It's just like, it's impossible. The real
sometimes you just need that outer perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Lacey, I'm like, dude, I don't even know how I wait until Wednesdays sometimes. Like, I'm like, we need to talk now. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's very abstract. I feel like, you know, I tell somebody, you know, that I grew up with, oh, hey, I'm a mindset transformation coach. They're like, well, what the fuck is that? Right? I'm like, well, it's pretty fucking awesome is what it is. And I'm transforming people and their lives and their businesses and helping them, you know, move forward, because times has like, you know, going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it has like, you know, a connotation, or, you know, what is it called? A stigma.
Yeah.
And people are just afraid to do that. And I think honestly, like if someone had said, Katie, you should go to a psychologist, I'd be like, I'm not doing that. Right. But like, I worked with a mindset coach and I realized like, holy shit, like there's a whole part of me that can be unlocked by doing this deeper work and giving myself space, which is like part of my new program.
Awesome. So your first business was FlexForce Training, correct?
Yep.
So how did FlexForce Training become transformation and mindset coaching?
Exactly. So I actually still run FlexForce Training. But it's so funny. People are like, I don't know how to start a business. I don't know where to start or who to talk to. Honestly, the first thing I did was go down my Facebook list and message everybody about what I was doing. I was like, hey, my name's Katie, or, you know, not even my name's Katie. They're all people I knew from high school. So I'm like, hey, like, I know we haven't talked in a while. I just want to let you know that I'm, you know, opening a personal training studio in my basement, because of the fact that people our age aren't able to pay the prices that, you know, LA Fitness is charging like $50 and $60 for 30 minutes. And you're really not getting what you should out of it. You're not getting the community. You're not getting the support. You're not getting the nutrition. A lot of times they're just, you know, setting up machines and watching you and walking around doing with you. I was like, this is not what I want. Like, this is so much, it's just watered down version of what I truly want to help people with. I just shared my message. I was like, if you're interested, let me know. If not, that's totally cool too. If you have any questions, just let me know. And I actually filled my entire practice that summer. Like, I had 30 people in the span of, you know, like a month or two. I was quitting my job in corporate gym. I was like, I'm done. So I literally dropped like $3 to $4 grand on equipment. I was like, I'm doing this. And it just blew up. Like, honestly, just posting transformation pictures online, you know, sharing testimonials, like it just bam, 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 bam. I started a 9 to 5 because I wanted to supplement. In the middle of that, I was actually training people who were about to go to school, like away to college. So, you know, I trained them all summer and then they went away to college. And what happened, I actually dropped a 45-pound weight on my foot that winter. And I was training people on my crutches. I was like, you know, I only had like 2 that didn't go away to school, and I obviously wasn't advertising at the time because I was like, I don't know how much I can handle right now. But you know, I was at a low, so like it was super high, and then I was like, holy shit, what am I doing? After, I went through that winter, I was like, I need to supplement with a 9 to 5. I did that. By the following summer, I was back up to 25 people. I was like, I cannot work a 9 to 5 anymore. Like, I just don't, have the time. So that's when I kind of went back into that. And after that, I was like getting to the point, I was like, I really want to take this online. I really want to take that community support that, I always tell people, I'm like, by coming here, not just working out, like being around me, something about being around me really forces you to like be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Because I really force people to like just dig deep. Like, that's just how I am, like being around me. And in person and on the phone, that's just how I am. I can't turn it off. So that's when I kind of pushed it online, and I started to take my message and be like, how am I going to turn this into an online practice? And as I was doing that, I was hitting some really tough bumps. I was like, why is this not feeling right? People are, that's the personal trainer who works out of her basement. I'm like, oh, people just aren't getting this. Like, they're just not getting my mission. Like, that's the 23-year-old, making 10K months. Like, I don't know. And I was really just put off by it. I'm like, this is just so not like my bigger mission and my bigger message. And luckily at the time I had 2 or 3 clients, online clients, and, they had come to me for fitness and for mindset. But the crazy part is, like, we started as, doing both, doing fitness and doing mindset. And by the end, it was all mindset. It was literally like, we started, I gave them the tools, and then they realized that what they truly wanted had nothing to do with fitness. I do fitness. I love fitness because it's part of building myself up and making myself happy and just living the life I want to live. But I'm not immune to the fact that not everybody likes to go to the gym, and not everybody likes to lift super heavy weights. People don't all like that, and that's totally okay. And as much as, it is the quickest way to transform your body. Like, if you want to go, like one of my clients, she's traveling France and Italy, and now she's in, what's it called? Thailand. I'm like, dude, why the fuck would you go lift weights in a gym? Like, that's just not like important right now, So I think it was actually my clients who really made me realize, like, hey, I can, still do this in person, but I'm ready to let go of it online because it's holding me back, and it's holding my clients back because they came to me out of need, not out of want. They didn't come to me because they wanted a 6-pack. They came to me because they couldn't stand how they felt in their own skin. And that's way more than just a physical thing. My one client who's, traveling around the world, she had come to me because she had back pain, and she wanted to become more physically fit because she had back pain. And, I want to say maybe even 3 weeks in, when we had slowly, like, basically moved on to just mindset, I never heard one single word about her back pain ever again. And we look back at that, like, on our last call, and, like, not even a week ago, and we were like, holy shit. Like, it just vanished because you were literally, like, digging through your shit, figuring out, like, what are all these things that you were bringing with you, and just letting them go, and like letting go of how the way things should be and the way you wanted them to be and expected them to be, and just stepping into who you are and like what you're meant to actually do.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much the mind really, goes with the body and all of that stuff. And when you start fixing, this part of you, the rest of it kind of falls in place afterwards. So, and that back pain story is amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you wish you knew before you started?
That's a really hard one. I think that just like wherever you're at, like right now, like no matter what, like whether you're at the beginning, whether you're in the middle, whether you're advanced, like wherever you're at right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. Because like, I was fighting that, like getting an online fitness client for so long. And then I just hit that point where I was like, whatever, wherever this is going, wherever I'm supposed to go right now, just let me go. Like wherever this is supposed to take me is that's fine. And I just like let it go. And I was like, you know, if this doesn't work out the way I planned, it's fine. And I think that's when I really started like moving mountains. And I think even recently, you know, I was a little bit less visible online, and I was doing a lot of market research, but I wasn't, you know, showing up every day and letting my, you know, wrath, like usually I'm very ranty in the way I talk and the way I post. And I think one of the big things that I learned lately that's a huge lesson that I think is that, you know, in the beginning, it's all about the money. It's like, okay, I want to make more money. I want to help more people. And there's always, you know, I want to help more people, but you got to pay your bills. So in the beginning, it's very linked to money. Like when you get a 5K month and a 10K month and a 15K month, it's like, oh my God, I made 15K. And, you know, recently I just got so fucking bored. I was like, I don't even care about the money anymore. I was like, I have enough. I'm fine. So I really just like stopped showing up online as much because I was like, I'm fine, you know? And I was like, holy shit, like, you know, to go from starting in the industry and being like money, 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 even though you really do want to help people, it's like when you let that go and you're like, wow, my purpose really is much bigger than that. Like money bores me now. It's just a matter of like that energy. Like it's more about, you know, when you take on a one-on-one client or you have a 20K month, it's more about the impact that you're making and the energy that you're bringing to the table. Because like, you know, it was so crazy just to like look down at my bank account and be like, all right, I hit my goal. Now what? And really that's when I started. I was like, I'm going to go speak on stages. I'm going to write my book. I'm going to do all this stuff. And that's when I really started to step back. And instead of doing, you know, the normal 90-day program and all the shit that everybody else does, I was like, what is my end goal here? Like, what kind of transformation and experience do I want my clients to have? And I think, you know, with my mindset work, especially by the end of 3 months, I was like, oh, like, I'm just like constantly like asking myself, like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? What am I supposed to do next? What is my block? And I think you've experienced even this where you're just like anticipating blocks before they even happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of like the really deep work that I do. But at the same time, like, I think the real importance is connecting that to implementation and basically pulling your head back out of your ass. Because you get in the practice of deep mindset work. People are like, you know, what kind of mindset practices do you do every day? Journaling, meditation, affirmations. I'm just like, dude, if you can spend 2 minutes, like, okay, you might spend like a week doing, you know, 20 minutes a day or an hour a day. If you do that for the rest of your life, you're gonna be a fucking hermit. You're never gonna be able to use it ever.
Right.
So really turning that around. And because I feel like people get wrapped up in that. They're like, I'm supposed to be doing mindset work. I'm supposed to be doing mindset work. I'm like, yeah, but if you can't apply it, it doesn't mean shit. So that's when I was like, my new program is literally going to be, you know, 2 weeks. It's going to be a 30-day immersion experience and then 2 days on, or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Because if you don't acclimate like back to the world and like, hey, why am I doing this crazy mindset where questioning everything about who I am, what I do, and what my patterns are, then you lose it like completely. You're just like, oh my God, questioning yourself all the time because you're so deep inside yourself. And that's really fucking scary if you can't connect back outwards.
It's and the thing is that because I've been through that kind of transformation where I pulled back and really, you know, went into that self-exploration kind of thing.
Yeah, it's scary.
And started doing it. And I went offline and I stopped, you know, and I pulled back from everything that I was doing. And then one day I was like, this is great. And I'm learning lots of stuff about myself, but I'm not participating in the rest of the world at this point. Like, what's the point of all this if I'm not doing anything with it? So you're right. Like you can spend all day, every day doing inner work, but if you don't get out there and actually put your, you know, stuff out there and practice, you know, what you've been exploring, so to speak, then it kind of is not, you know, not worth it.
Yeah, people are like, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I know I have blocks. I'm like, go clean your room. See what that'll bring into your life. Because honestly, I have the best breakthroughs when I clean my damn room, because I have all these great ideas. And it's like, it's the smallest thing, connecting inner to outer is what it is. Like things like that, you don't realize how deep they go. Like throwing shit out from like your ex-boyfriend from 4 years ago. Like how freaking cleansing that is. And you're like, holy shit, I don't even care anymore. You know, like until you open that can of worms to participate in your mindset work physically, there is no use for it at all.
Yeah. And you do. And once you start putting into action, I mean, my mindset routine basically consists of, well, I guess probably about 30 minutes a day, because I spend a half an hour in the morning, but I do, 2 minutes of I am statements in the morning and 2 minutes at night. And I don't do computers first thing in the morning when I wake up. I take a half an hour before I pick up my cell phone, my computer, anything. Where I used to just jump right online and be like, oh, I have to work on the business.
Right.
Now I'm like, I just look at the trees and whatever comes into my mind. I don't, again, it's that whole, like, you question yourself, like, am I doing meditation right? Am I doing this the right way? That's my meditation. I sit and I think for half an hour, and just whatever it is that comes into my mind comes into my mind.
Exactly.
I don't sit cross-legged. I don't do the thumb thing. I just sit in a chair and I look at my surroundings.
Like people ask me what my mindset practice is all the time. Like, you want to know what it is right now? It's literally me, asking myself 5 and 6 times a day, does this feel good? Does this feel good? Like, it's something so simple. Like one of my other clients, one of the questions I have her ask herself all the day, like every day, all the time, is what choice am I making right now? A lot of times when we have people who are not supportive in our lives, we have to admit that, like, hey, I'm tolerating this person, or I'm tolerating a situation, and saying, like, what am I choosing to do about this right now? And if you're choosing to do nothing, then that's completely, feasible option. But, accepting that, like, hey, I am here because, like, I'm like, you can pack your bags and move to California tomorrow. Nobody's going to stop you. But the fact that you're choosing to stay here is your choice.
Right.
And as soon as you accept that is when all the other shit really starts moving, because you're like, hey, I can't be mad at this person because I'm here and not in California. I've chosen to stay here. And I've chosen to, be exactly where I am and do exactly what I am doing and all that. So for sure, it can be 2 minutes a day, as long as it's the right 2 minutes for
Right.
you.
And it literally is, the choices that you make are the choices that you make. There are no right or wrong decisions. There's just decisions.
Exactly. And the quicker people get at making decisions and being like, yes, that feels good. No, that doesn't feel good. And you can change your mind in 10 minutes. But the fact that you made that choice now frees up so much energy to think about other things and do other things and actually move forward.
Yeah. And I see that a lot of people get stuck in their own heads with the, am I making the right choice? Is this the right decision? Is this just make a decision?
Right. Exactly. Like, or like, ask the universe, like, hey, like, I had that choice where I was like, it wasn't even feasible. I was like, should I write a book first or should I public speak first? And I haven't done either yet. And I was like, I was hung up on it. I was like, which one should I do first? And, I actually got a download. Like, someone called me. They're like, hey, I really want to connect with you. And then, like, out of nowhere, she was like, you should write. I was like, thanks for that. Like, thanks. That's exactly what I needed this morning. And then, I got that answer. And then I was like, that wasn't really important, but I asked for it and I got it. Sometimes it's easy as that. You just have to, like, put it out there and be like, hey, I can't move forward energetically until I have this really stupid answer that I really don't need yet. And you get it, you just have to, like, believe and, like, really, see things. Like, you have to listen instead of just hearing,
Yes, absolutely. So, moving on to more fun stuff, what do you do for your fun?
I've been working so much on this lately, and it's so funny that you're asking me this today because I'm actually going to the beach after this, which is really fun for me because, like, I usually don't go down, like, for day trips and stuff, and I'm probably like an hour away from the shore or so in Bucks County, so there's really no excuse for not going more often. But I've just been planning, like, this Saturday I'm going to the shooting range. I just bought a new truck, and people are like, you drive a truck? I'm like, fuck yeah, I drive a truck. I need to get a sticker for the back of my truck that says Ram Girl on it, so people would stop asking me if it was my boyfriend's truck. But, yeah. So, just like, I like the adventure. Anything that, like, people ask me, like, what do you like to do? I'm like, anything that's like that I wasn't expecting. Whether it's paintballing, rock climbing, skydiving, like, and I hate roller coasters, so that's out. But just anything that's like taking in your environment and really pushing your boundaries, like whatever excites me. And and honestly, for my more regular practices, like, I go to Salad Works like twice a week. I sit there by myself and I eat my damn salad, and it makes me the happiest person in the freaking world. And just like little things like that. Like, I was talking to my coach Lacey, and I was like, I really need to incorporate more things that like make me happy, and I just need to get out of the house more, because like working as an entrepreneur, we work in our houses a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not a huge Starbucks person. Like, it's not really my thing. So, just going out for an hour, or taking a drive, or just, doing that one adventure, 2 adventures a week that you're not used to is like super beneficial. Frees up a lot of energetic space.
All right, I'm gonna ask your question and let you answer it, because I have to plug my computer in because I forgot to. So tell me where you find your inspiration.
That's a good question. So I find that in so many different unexpected places. I think one of the huge places that I find my inspiration is in my clients, because I'm constantly, sometimes if you've ever experienced like just beginning as a coach, a lot of people struggle. They're like, I don't really know what to talk about or what to say, and I know I have so many things to share. I think it's really just like, you have to get on the phone with people, because the more I talk to people, the more clear I am on like, how can I help them? What blocks are they facing? What are things that are coming up? Like, oftentimes it's like when girls kind of like when you have a bunch of girls in one house or whatever, they always say like their periods synchronize or whatever. It's kind of like that. Like, it's almost as if my clients experience a lot of the same blocks at the same times. So when they come up like that, or they're starting to like blend together, is really when I'm like, oh shit, I really need to talk about this, or this is really a huge part of my message, or a part of, really helping people on that level. And also, another thing that's really super inspiring is just like talking to people in general. It doesn't have to be clients. It can be, strangers. It can be friends. Because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, like, we get so hung up in helping other entrepreneurs, helping them with their business, helping with their mindset, that we forget that, regular, like, people who aren't entrepreneurs face these blocks too. So, like, I learned from my parents, and I learned from my brothers and sisters, and I'm like, oh, they're experiencing a mindset block. And it's crazy, because in the world, when they're not, like, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not actually forced to like look at this and really say, feeling shitty this week. Like, it's just something they're like, oh, I'm feeling shitty this week. They accept it as a definitive thing. Whereas in entrepreneurship, a lot of times, like, we do hit those blocks, and we're like, okay, I have to, do something about this. Let me see if Sephora's, where'd you go, Sephora? I'm going to Facebook message you, see if you're coming back. Let me see if I can add you here.
Okay, I'm back in live. Yay! Okay.
Hey, sorry. I kept going, and then I was like, I don't know where you went.
So I got
So
it
basically,
plugged
I
in
said
and
my
then and it went
clients.
dead.
Yeah, you're fine. I said my clients. I said being around other people, like even strangers sometimes, or like people who are entrepreneurs, because a lot of times like they experience mindset blocks, but they're like, oh, I'm just having a shitty week, and I'm like, no, you're having a shitty week because you're hitting a mindset block. But you know, it's hard to tell people who are entrepreneurs that because they just don't appreciate it the same way. But yeah, just like I think I find a lot of my inspiration, like I have downloads when I read, when I'm out, when I shower, when I blow dry my hair. It's really just a matter of opening your mind. And sometimes I can feel like I get really lonely when my mind starts to close. And I tell Lacey this all the time. Like I have some days where I feel like the world is so big and some days where I feel like the world is really small. And I think I'm starting to learn that like when I feel like the world is small, it's because my head's not open. So I have to do stuff that like really just opens my mind, whether that be, you know, reading or doing something that pushes me out of my comfort zone or whatever. But it's really just about listening to yourself, like, you know, observing, hey, am I closed-minded today? Hey, why do I feel shitty today? Just asking yourself continuously, like, what is really going on?
Right.
Right.
So next questions, and then we're kind of getting to the end. So, and I don't know if anybody, it's doesn't look like anybody joined us on the Hangout. So we'll just kind of leave it up to whatever you want to say at the end. But what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Oh, this is hard. I can tell you my favorite series. Let me tell you that first because I think it's funny. My favorite series is probably like Dexter and then like One Tree Hill, which is really funny because they're so different. Like Dexter kills serial killers for a living, and One Tree Hill is like a high school romance story. So I think that's like that's so funny because that really like demonstrates like who I am. I'm just like so random like that. But my favorite movies, my favorite one of all time has to be Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff. Like literally, I actually found out that I have 2 of the DVD the other day. I was like, how did this even happen? That, and then like Rush Hour 3 has always like knocked me on my ass with laughter. So I really like that one. Not the first, not the second, the third. And then like, you know, I like my Notebook. I like stuff like that. But I like to laugh. So I don't know. I literally, I'm like a movie buff. I'm a book buff, a movie buff. I like so many different. I'm sure it's good 10 years from now. Like I'm still gonna like Cinderella Story, but I'll probably have 3 more favorites. So
I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I can give you my top 10.
yeah, right? I'm like, I'm a Netflix junkie. Sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my favorite series too. Not either of yours, but one of my favorite series ever is Burn Notice. So
I've never
I'm on like my 7th watch of all 7 seasons. It's ridiculous.
I know. I've watched watching it. There's like 7 seasons. I love Prison Break too, and that's supposed to come back like this month. So I'm like, so excited.
I don't have any. Well, The Walking Dead. I'm a big Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. I saw a meme recently. It was like, you either like Walking Dead or you're wrong. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like,
perfect.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, either you like it or you're not my friend.
So that brings us to another, I guess, for you, like me, top 10 list. What's your favorite book?
Ooh, this is hard. In self-development, it is definitely Feel the Fear, Do It Anyway. And this book specifically, it's kind of funny because people listen and they're like, oh, you know, it's going to teach me how to like feel my fear and do it anyway. Like, it's actually not like that at all, which I find like extremely like, you know, it just kind of puts you off. But it really talks about like fears and like your underlying beliefs about them, and how at the root of every fear that's ever existed for you is the fear that you can't handle it. Whatever it is, whether it's dying, getting eaten by sharks, losing your best friend, getting cheated on, all that stuff. The root of it is believing that you cannot handle whatever that fear coming true means to you, whether you're gonna like give up and like whatever, you know, just crumble and die of a broken heart. I don't know. But then when you realize that, you're like, shit, I am gonna be fine. Like, if it happens, it happens. But unless I die, you know, what's the worst that could really happen? And I think there's something so powerful in that. And I think when I realized that, I was like it's life, you know, like some shit's gonna happen, really bad shit's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, if I'm still here, that means something.
It does. And that's one of the biggest things I think in you know, busting through that bullshit kind of thing, is making that realization that you are going to be there on the other side, period. Like, it's bad shit's going to happen no matter what, but you're going to live through it.
That,
and hopefully
and, like,
you learn something from it.
Absolutely. Probably be the power of habit, just because it really explains to you. I think that's really my signature process, which will you know, fuck what did I call it? Fuck the pattern. You know, it's really just about analyzing your patterns and figuring out, step in, like break that cycle in order to create a new pattern that really serves you on a deeper purpose. And I think that book really changed the game for me.
So what is your favorite quote? Oh, are you still there?
Going in and out though.
Okay. So your favorite quote?
Well, the one that I want to get tattooed on me right now, so I guess that has to be my favorite because I'm willing to bear it on my own, is you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. Oh, you're frozen. Done? No, not yet. I'm still trying to finish up. This one was plagued with difficulties. Okay, are you back in?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite quote, which I started to say, if I'm willing to tattoo it on my body, it's got to be up there, is everything you aspire to be, you already are.
Love that.
Yeah, so I'm getting that probably on my collarbone, like right here. Just because I think that, you know, a lot of times we get hung up on like who we're gonna be, and I think that it's really important to realize, like, I look back and I'm like, the person that I am right now is part of, you know, the person like me in 6th grade just evolved, you know, and like there's a huge part of me that's still the same person that I was in 6th grade, which is crazy. And to see that so connectively is like really empowering, I think. because just realizing that if I'm making $1 million, which I will be probably, 3 years from now or 5 years from now, then it's really like, I'm not going to be somebody like crazy. Like I'm going to be the same person.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think people get afraid that they're going to make so much money and like turn into some crazy person. And I'm like, nope, going to be the same person.
Just what's the word? It heightens who you are, maybe.
That's what I say. Mindset work is kind of like the same way. Like whatever you are, just multiplies. So if my clients get on the phone and they're extremely confused, I'm going to show them how fucking confused they are. And I'm like, listen, like I can't make sense out of your confusion. You have to make sense out of your confusion. So I'm just going to speed up the process in showing you. And that's kind of like making more money. You're just making more of whatever you already have.
Right. So what is your favorite word?
This is so timely. You must be like intuitively connected to me or something this week, because not only am I getting that tattoo on my collarbone, but I want to get the word weightless on my forearm. And I think this has like dual meanings for me, because one, like, I was someone who struggled with my weight like all of my life, and helping people with that and realizing that like no matter what weight you are, like you can always choose to be weightless and like really let go of your bullshit. And I think that serves a physical purpose for me and in personal training and fitness, as well as it does for mindset, because you carry all this shit with you all the time, and you can always choose to like put it down and to really connect back to yourself and forgive yourself for everything that you've carried with you this far, and realizing that like it was your choice to carry it and you don't have to anymore.
Absolutely.
So I think that's like for sure. It's so weird that you asked me that, because I've been like really thinking about those two things like hardcore.
Okay, so what's your least favorite word?
This is hard. I don't know. That's a really good question. I think that in a sense, I think the first thing that comes to mind is money, which is really funny because like a lot of mindset coaches be like, oh my God, you have a money block. But it's like, I love money, but I love what money means, like to me. And like, whereas like, I think I don't like it because of how like misconstrued it is, because like people are like, money's the root of all evil, and like I need more money, or I don't have enough money. And it's just like the way people use it and the energy that's usually attached to it makes me very angry. So I think it's just, I don't hate money, but I hate the way most people see it. So like more so in an everyday fashion, more so than the entrepreneur realm, because of a lot of us like have worked through that. So if you talk to a whole entrepreneurial circle, it's much different talking about money. Like I can ask somebody in the entrepreneurial circle, like, oh, how much do you make this month? And it's not going to be like, oh my God, why did you just ask that? Whereas like if I ask my neighbor how much she made this month, she'd be like, excuse me. Do I have to tell you that?
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, sorry. Like it's just something that like comes with being in the territory.
Yeah, it does, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Adventure, for sure. Whether it's emotional, adventure or spiritual adventure, just feeling new things and allowing them to like really like wash over me in like a very just like whole way. Because I feel like a lot of times like when we experience things, we try to like control them. It's like a control thing. We're like, oh, I'm feeling happy, but I don't want to feel too happy, like, but I think just being like overwhelmed with emotion is something that has always really, like, whether it's anger or sadness, and just like letting yourself feel that and like bring to you. I always say, like, if people are extremely angry or sad, I'm like, what is this trying to tell you right now?
Right.
whether it's an emotion or an experience. Like if someone, someone that you're really close to comes down with cancer, I'm like, nothing in this world is coincidence. Nothing. And I think just taking a step back and being like, what am I supposed to learn from this is something that we should be asking ourselves every day.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
I think closed-mindedness, just like, because I've never been a very religious person or anything, but like, I think I actually went to church yesterday, and I don't really go to church like that often. And I did feel a shift in me where, I was like, my language is now like the universe and like fate, and like it's like a mindset dialogue versus a religious one. And although I can still appreciate, things being said in a religious context. So I think just being able to take, like, people who don't, they're like, oh, this isn't relevant to me. It's like, you just need to take with you whatever's relevant. And that's like, that is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, if it's not relevant, then just leave it, but being that open to being like, people are always like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. And another thing that really fucking bugs me is that when people are like, I'm just trying to stay positive. I'm like, you can't be positive if you don't sit in your shit and figure out how freaking horrible it is and what's really causing it. Because people are like, oh, even people with cancer and stuff, they're like, I'm just looking at the positive. I'm just looking at the positive. Like if you don't accept the fact that like you have stage 4 cancer and your life doesn't change because of it, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't come to you can't come to accept anything or come to peace with things if you don't actually allow yourself to experience like true pain. And if you're keeping it at arm's distance and you're like, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to feel that, it's just going to get worse and worse and bite you in the ass the more you try to stay positive. So, you have to have like either a space or a person or, something that you vent your shit out, and whether you're writing it or videoing it or talking to someone, you got to let that like negative shit out without judgment. Because if you don't, then it's going to come back until you literally can't fight it off anymore.
It's very interesting that came out. I hear a echo. It's interesting that came up, that you mentioned that in your, when you were talking, because it's actually come up for me quite a bit in this last week, where somebody said, oh, you're reading all these Zen books, but you're not very Zen because you were mean to me. And I was like, that has nothing to do. I had a reaction to what happened and I let it go 30 seconds later because it didn't affect my life any. So, but being Zen doesn't necessarily mean not having, like, being at peace all the time. It just means looking at things and saying, is that going to, is that something that I need to hold on to, or is it something that I can let go? So having emotions isn't necessarily about that. It's about,
having all ends of that spectrum.
Yeah. Just allowing yourself to feel what you feel and knowing, that you're allowed to feel it and not feel like shit about it, not feel guilty for having an emotion about something. You're allowed to get angry. Mm-hmm. Just you're better off if you don't let that anger sit with you. So
right, but you can't, unless you actually experience it, you're not gonna be able to release it.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, so what is your favorite curse word? I know you're gonna love this one.
This is actually really funny because if you've noticed lately, I actually haven't been cursing as much, which is really funny because people know me. They're like, oh, she uses fuck like commas. Like, I do, but like, I think part of that was me like raging at the fact that I was like coming out of the shell. Awareness. And I think now it's more like a punctual thing where it's like, where, I believe that every piece of content should be an even mix between value and entertainment, because I just won't read shit if it's not interesting. So I think that the curse word that draws the most attention is definitely fuck, but that's because I just think like on television and stuff, like they say shit and they say damn and they say hell sometimes, but like fuck is like big. And I think that really is kind of the energy around is like, hey, you need to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I was using it so often, is because like, hey, like I'm talking some shit here. Like you need to pay attention, like, hey, highlight this line, like, because on Facebook you can't use bold and stuff. But I just think that if you use it in a way that serves you and, draws attention to the correct things in your message, then it's really just about how strong you want to bring that attention and like using them in the right places.
Yes, definitely. So what sound or noise do you love?
Noise. I love the ocean, but that's pretty much what everyone's like. You know what I love is the turn signal in my car right now, like my new truck, because it's so different than my car, because my car was like a 2004 like Camry, and now I have a Ram 1500, so it's more like, instead of like tick tick tick, it's like and it makes me so happy. I'm like, I drive a truck now. Like,
that is awesome, and probably the best answer I've heard so far for that question.
Because I'm like, hey, that's my awesomeness calling me.
That is just awesome. So what sound or noise do you hate?
It's more like, I don't know if it's a sound. I guess it is a sound. It's like rubbing your hand on carpet, like with your palm down. It just like really bothers me. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me, like, or socks on a carpet. I'm just like, oh, don't do that. I don't know. It's always bothered me. I'm not quite sure.
This is why I ask these questions, because I love the answers.
Yeah.
So what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, this is huge. One, I want to be a firefighter.
Nice.
And two, I always said, my mom's like, are you going to go back to school? I'm like, no, because working with a mentor is just so much more beneficial for me. Like I've just been able to download things so much quicker. But I would definitely love to get more into the psych field and like really like learn more of the traditional practices, because I'm so abstract right now. I just, I use what feels good and I use what works. But I think the more I delve into that, it will be a natural thing for me that I'm gonna want to learn more and more and more about it, because it's endless. So for sure.
Awesome. What profession would you not like to do?
I would never want to be a nurse, ever. First of all, I cannot stand on my feet for 12 hours. And number two is like, I literally like half of my client, actually probably more than half of my personal training clients are nurses. And like, they just tell me the craziest stories. Like, I got shit on today. I'm like, dude, I could not handle that. Like, I could not. I give them so much props for what they do. I'm like, oh my God, I would not be meant for that.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle.
I love helping people. Like, oh my God. Like, especially like geriatrics and stuff. Like, I'm dealing with my grandparents right now who are like 83 years old. And I'm like, God, like if I hear this story one more time, like I love them to death, but I'm like, God, my patience is really being tested. I'm like, what am I supposed to be learning? Apparently it's patience.
Awesome. All right. And the final question is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh God, that's a deep question.
It is.
You're a fucking rock star.
These are not actually my questions. They are, Bernard Pivot came up with the original set, and they were used in a show called Inside the Actors Studio, which I was a religious watcher of. And I've always loved these questions. And I always said if I was going to do an interview show, I was going to ask these questions.
Probably something along the lines of like, you're a fucking rock star. But just like, I think giving me the credit that like I outdid I almost like you outdid what I had planned for you. Like
Very
not
nice.
only did you do what I had planned for you, but you exceeded it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. All right. So did you want to say anything else before we sign off?
I think we covered pretty much everything.
I think we got, yeah.
My mouth.
It's what it's all about. That's why I love doing this show. It's just like been so much fun for me. So
Absolutely.
So
thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on and being a guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go hit the beach.
Yes.
That
I'm going to go run errands today.
is mentally good for you to get out of the house like that.
It is mentally good for me to go get my shit done.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, I will let you go.
All right. Have a fun day at the beach, Katie.
I will. Bye.
Bye.